What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to another edition of Giants Collective. If you notice, it is Tuesday. I know we kind of changed up things, so just so you know, if you're watching the show or just tuning in after we're live, these shows are run on Tuesday and Thursday at 7 o'clock during the football season. This way, 7 o'clock Thursday, we're out of here, and you guys can get to watching Thursday Night Football, which we do have football on Thursday this week. The disgusting Philadelphia Eagles and the trash-ass Dallas Cowboys get us started on Thursday night. And, of course, the Giants, well, they have a big game this week. They got a big game this week against the Commanders. So the NFC East will battle each other in two games. Just real quick, big shout-out. Sleeper is sponsor of the show tonight, so big shout out to them. We'll hear from Sleeper a little bit later. Love to have them on board. Appreciate them coming on board for the season as well. We also have SeatGeek, so really cool. Chris wants Into Cloud. We're working on it, so we'll get that done. But yeah, appreciate you guys being there. Remember, Tuesday and Thursday, 7 o'clock. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. That helps us out huge. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. You can also check us out on iHeartRadio, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. All those links are in the description below. Appreciate you tuning in. So what we're going to do tonight, guys and gals, because there's not a lot of news on the Giants front, so we're going to do a little predictions for you guys and gals tonight. We're going to go through week one's games, and we are going to pick who we think are going to win these games. So let's see what we have. Oops, that's not the right thing. Let me go here. All right. Here we go. Week one is upon us. And I can't get that any bigger. I wish I could. I don't know why it shows up.
It's big enough.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously they open Philadelphia and Dallas. Lady always goes first. Adriana, who do you like in that game?
I hate to say this because it's like the worst of the worst, but Eagles by 50. I'm taking every Eagles bet there is. I already made multiple touchdown parlays. I got one of them that has Saquon, Hurts, CD, parlayed all anytime touchdowns. And I have another one that's CD, Jalen Hurts, and might just be the two of them. And then I also put money on the Philadelphia defense scoring a touchdown because I think for sure there's going to be a pick six. I have not bet on George Pickens yet. I don't trust him just yet, but I've seen some things saying that they think Dallas is going to pull out a win here. And I don't know what world they're living in, but it's most certainly not reality. Probably the same people who think that Jerry Jones won the Micah Parsons trade. So I'm going Eagles. I think they're going to absolutely destroy them. And I think we are going to get a very weak, pathetic Dallas in week 2. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
You got a final score?
I'm going to go 41-12.
What?
Random.
Wow. Wow. That's
like
big.
I like it. Anthony, give us a prediction on this great game between two teams that we can't stand.
I think both teams are going to come out a little sluggish, and I think the surprise of this game is going to be Philadelphia throwing the ball to win. I don't think they're going to run it at Dallas and win that way. This Dallas defense is really weak now without Micah Parsons. They don't have a pass rush, and they don't really have much of an impressive secondary with a banged-up Diggs. And yes, Payne is a good cornerback, but generally speaking, there is not a lot of menace in that secondary. So I think Philadelphia is going to win by 2 touchdowns. Call it however many points you want, but by 2 touchdowns, I think they're going to win. And the difference is going to be Devontae Smith getting a whole bunch of yards and getting into the end zone at least once.
Chris, what do you like in this game?
I'm hoping for a Cowboys win, not just because I hate the Eagles, and I hate the Cowboys, of course, as well, but I hate the Eagles a little bit more. But I don't want a desperate Cowboys team the following week. I'd rather them be 1-0 than 0-1, as crazy as that may sound. But things don't usually go the way that I hope when it comes to football in recent years. And in this game, yeah, I agree with the first 2 predictions, not necessarily the scores, but yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win, and they're going to win pretty easily, especially without Micah Parsons out there. The Eagles are just a better football team. I'm going to go by 10. Divisional game, I'll give the Cowboys a little bit respect opening week. I'll go 31-21. I think the Cowboys still have a pretty good offense, so I think they'll be able to put up some points. but the defense will not be able to keep the Eagles in check. 31-21 Birds.
Everyone likes the Birds. I like
Yeah.
the Birds too. I don't think it's close. I think Dallas is reeling from getting rid of Micah. Anthony mentioned it. Their secondary sucks. Their run defense also sucks. I mean, Philadelphia is going to be able to do whatever the hell they want on offense. If Jalen Hurts wants to run for 60 yards and get pushed 3 times for touchdowns, that's going to happen. If Jalen Hurts wants to hit A.J. Brown for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's what's going to happen. Really, just Philadelphia, it's going to be pick your poison. I don't think Dallas could stop a nosebleed on defense. Even with Micah, it was a bad unit. But you just got rid of your most impactful player. Philadelphia is not going to come out. I think they may come out a little slow week 1, maybe. I mean, what I do know is if they go off the field 3 and out a couple times, the fans will boo them, even though they're defending Super Bowl champions. That's what they do.
They did it last year. Yeah,
I know, in Philadelphia. But I don't think this game's close. I think Philadelphia wins this by 17 or more. I'm going to go 34-17 Philadelphia in week 1. I'm just
sorry, real quick. I don't know if you guys saw, but of course, Landon Dickerson is back for week 1. So the Eagles are going to be full steam ahead and no worries about that. We probably won't have Andrew Thomas, but of course, they're going to have Landon Dickerson, who got injured 4 weeks ago, and Andrew Thomas, who got surgery 10 months ago. But,
yeah, that's the way it goes. The way it goes first. I'm just going to go.
Life of a Giants fan.
What's that?
Life of a Giants fan.
Exactly. I'm just going to go down here in the order we're in. Next game is Friday night. The defending AFC champion Chiefs take on their division rival, the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe that game is in Brazil. Is that? Yeah. Beautiful. Anthony, who do you like in that game? That's an interesting game. Who do you like in that one?
I really want to pick the Chargers because I really like the Chargers, but I think Kansas City has a really strong team. And once Rashee Rice is back, which isn't applicable to this game, I think that this is the best group of weapons and supporting cast that Patrick Mahomes has had around him in years. And so even without Rashee Rice, I think it's pretty strong. Xavier Worthy going into year 2, Isaiah Pacheco back and healthy and ready to go. I think this is a really strong Chiefs offense paired with an elite Chiefs defense. And I think that the Los Angeles Chargers have a great roster and a really great coaching staff, but just not quite enough to stack up with Kansas City in week 1 in this primetime matchup. So I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I think it's going to be a narrow win by 1 score. And ultimately, I'm hoping that the Chargers do pull it out. I'd really like to see them win this game, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs.
Adriana, what do you think?
I think it's probably going to be the Chiefs, but I'm taking the Chargers because I'm not picking the Chiefs for any game this year unless they play like the Saints, because I just can't with them. I'm so sick of them. And I just want them to go 0-17. Nothing would make me happier, honestly. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here. I think that they're in year 2 of having Harbaugh. I think they added some good pieces this offseason. I think that Justin Herbert has proven to be a good quarterback in this league. You know, obviously, we all saw what happened in the playoff game, but I think ultimately he's got a lot of talent this year. I think last year the Chiefs started out super, super slow. And I think if they do that again and the Chargers can just take the slightest bit of advantage of that, then they can go ahead and get the win over them. So I'm rooting for the Chargers. I think it could be very close, but I'm picking the Chargers for this.
Chris, what do you think?
As I've said on the show before, I'm the biggest Harbaugh fan in the world. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. And I was ready to pick the Chargers as my Super Bowl pick this year before the Rashawn Slater injury. And based off the fact that he's not playing and based off the fact that it's in Brazil, if it was in LA, I'd be more inclined to at least lean towards the Chargers. Neutral field, no Slater week 1. I think that takes a little getting used to for the Chargers. So I'm going to go the Chiefs by about a touchdown. The Chiefs never seem to blow anybody out. The games, at least in recent history, all seem to be relatively close. So I don't expect much different here. I think it'll be a 1-score game. But I do think the Chiefs will find a way to get a win.
Yeah, I agree. Chiefs defense is stout. I mean, I think the Chiefs defense is a big reason they won all the games they did last year, even though a lot of them were by 1 score or less. But as long as you have a good defense, and that travels no matter where you are. I do like the Chargers this year. I think they could. I mean, they're a run-heavy team, so I don't know. Obviously, losing Slater really hurts that offensive line. Luckily for us, we don't have to play them in week 4. But yeah, I like the Chiefs myself. I think it's a low scoring game. I can see Kansas City winning this like 20-13. So I'm gonna take the Chiefs there as well. Next we have the Raiders and the Patriots, which should be an interesting game. Drake May getting the start, obviously, and Geno Smith for the Raiders. They have a flashy rookie by the name of Ashton Genty. Anthony, who you like in this game?
I think I like New England. I think Drake May is a really exciting young talent. Ashton Genty is as well in his own right, but I think that Raiders roster is really flawed on both sides of the ball. Not that the Patriots isn't, because they're pretty flawed as well, but I just think Drake May is due for a really big step forward going into his second season. Doesn't have the best supporting cast around him, but I like Mike Vrabel and what he's done with the Patriots to kind of reinstill a culture and to pair up Drake May with an experienced offensive coordinator who's had a lot of success in New England, and Josh McDaniels. So I think the Patriots are going to start their season 1-0 over the Raiders.
Adriana?
I agree with some of what Anthony said between Drake May and Mike Vrabel, and I think that ultimately Vrabel is going to turn this team around, but I don't think it's going to be week 1. I think that you've got Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty. You got rid of Chris Wilkins, who is dealing with, whatever type of nonsense they weren't having. I think Pete Carroll is going to do a lot to help turn this team around. I think they have good talent there, and they have an experienced quarterback in Geno Smith, and I think that with all of those things, they're going to be able to overtake the Patriots. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think honestly, a lot of these games week 1, probably outside of the Bengals, I think might be low scoring. But I think that, the Raiders are going to end up pulling out the win here.
Chris, what do you think?
Two great coaches, new destinations. I think that's the biggest storyline of that game going in. Pete Carroll, of course, or if he's not in the Hall of Fame yet, he will be. And of course, Mike Vrabel, who had tremendous success with the Titans. So I think that's a great storyline going into that game. Two great coaches at new destinations. I tend to want to side with the home team in a game where I feel like the teams are pretty evenly matched. Brock Bowers, a name that wasn't mentioned, who I think is a tremendous weapon as well. The Raiders have some really good weapons, but I feel like kind of what Anthony hinted at, they don't really have a complete roster. So they have a lot of holes on that roster, but so do the Patriots. I think the Raiders are the slightly better team, but because it's in New England, home opener, they're traveling across the country. I do think Drake May's in for a good second season. I'm going to say the Patriots win week 1 at home by a field goal.
That's tough. I mean, you got to flip a coin there. Obviously, the Raiders. Yeah, Brock Bowers is an absolute beast. I don't know too much about the Patriots defense, so it's tough for me to say one way or the other how good their run defense is. And, I do think the Raiders will be very run heavy. I don't think Geno Smith's really going to want to stretch the field, and I don't think you have to. I can see a lot of play action at Genty and hitting Brock Bowers in the seam. Like, I can see Brock Bowers having a massive game here. I'm not sold on the Raiders defense at all, though. And I do think that Drake May could have a big game in week 1. It's really tough, man. I lean towards what you said, Chris, just because it's in New England. I think if this game was in Vegas, I would lean Raiders, but because it's in New England, I'll take New England in a lower scoring game, maybe like, 21-17, somewhere in there, but I will take the Patriots in week 1. All right, Steelers, Jets, Anthony, Aaron Rodgers revenge game. Who do we like? I know who Adriana likes.
It's a revenge game for both quarterbacks too. Justin Fields going against Pittsburgh, where he didn't really get his fair shot. But I have to pick the Steelers in this one. The Jets looked gross this summer. They just did not look good. I really like Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn eventually will get that culture right and will get that team on the upswing, but I don't think they're there yet. Pittsburgh has a proven great head coach in Mike Tomlin. They have a fantastic defense. They don't have the best offense anymore. DK Metcalf is exciting, but I don't love Arthur Smith. I don't love that running back room, and I definitely don't love Aaron Rodgers going into his age 55 season or whatever he's in. But still, the Steelers are a better team than the Jets, and I think they're going to win this one.
Adriana.
Bad Dog, you're going to be surprised. I'm taking the Steelers, but it's not because of Aaron Rodgers. It's because I think the Jets are going to suck. And I think that, what's his name? I really believe in Mike Tomlin. I think he's a good coach. I think that, he makes some good decisions, and ultimately they have TJ Watt, who I think is going to absolutely destroy Justin Fields and that offensive line. And I just think that the Steelers are going to find some way to win. It's one of those games that I don't think is going to be super high scoring, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to go out there and blow the tops off this offense, and they're going to, put up 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. I just think that they're going to do enough ultimately to win this game and beat out the Jets. I like Aaron Glenn too. I think that he's going to be a good head coach. I just think they're not there yet, especially not in week 1. And I think that Tomlin's experience is going to be the deciding factor and will help the Steelers get the edge to win.
Chris, who do you like?
I'll believe in Aaron Glenn when I see it. A lot of people, myself included, thought Robert Saleh was going to be a great head coach too there with what he brought over as the defensive coordinator with the 49ers. He brought a lot of personality. So I do think Glenn could be a good head coach, but it's a complete unknown. Mike Tomlin, we know, is one of the best coaches in the NFL. You could say what you want about him in terms of his playoff record in recent history. The guy constantly outkicks the coverage in terms of preseason expectations. He always has that team fighting for a playoff spot. And I'm going to go against all of that, and I'm picking the Jets because I view it as this is the Jets Super Bowl this year, right? To get revenge on Aaron Rodgers. Week 1, you're at home. I think the Jets actually have one of the better rushing attacks in football with Fields and their duo in the running back. That's one of the only things they got going for them. We saw that the offensive line was not very good against the Giants in the joint practices in the preseason game. I think the Jets are able to establish the run, and I think they come out extra motivated against the Steelers. That's going to be one of my upset picks of week 1. Jets 17, Steelers 16. Jets win by 1.
Okay.
Adriana, what did you call the Jets? Gross?
That's what Anthony called them.
Anthony, you called them gross. I like that word because that is the Jets. They're gross. And Steelers are going to win this game. There's not much to say. The Jets stink. They are a shit team. And luckily for the Giants, the Jets, I mean, it doesn't really matter because nobody pays attention to the Jets. And I did have fun talking a lot of trash to Jets fans. The Jets just aren't a very good team. I don't really believe I don't want to say I don't believe in Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I think he can do well. But, I mean, if anybody knows Justin Fields, it's the Steelers. And I'm pretty sure Tomlin will have a really good game plan for him to contain him in the pocket, make him be a passer. And if they do that, which I think they will, the Jets aren't going to win. The Jets are going to have to run the ball a ton in this game to win. And I'm sure the Steelers know that and they'll game plan for it. I like the Steelers in this game 17-10. I don't see the Jets scoring much at all.
Yep.
Next game, our old friend Daniel Jones leads the Indianapolis Colts against the Miami Dolphins. Anthony, who do you like there?
I think this is a tough one. Both of these teams feel like they're a little bit lost in space right now. Don't know which direction they're going in. But I like the Miami Dolphins because I still think, even though Tua Tagovailoa is not as exciting as maybe he was a couple of years ago, he is still a great fit for the offensive system that they run, and he can conduct it and game manage at a really high level. Whereas the quarterback in Indianapolis, whose name I don't feel like saying, I don't trust him to run the offensive game plan as effectively. So I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I also think they've got some young, exciting pieces on the defensive side of the ball, like Chop Robinson. They brought back Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's a great talent in the secondary. And of course, they still have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So just a little bit more firepower for Miami. I know people are really down on the Dolphins going into the season, but I'm way down on the Indianapolis Colts. I've seen what that quarterback can do to a team, and I am avoiding that team in my bets at all costs. So I'll take the Miami Dolphins.
Adriana?
This is tough because I don't have a great conviction on either team, but I just, from what I've seen from the Dolphins, I just don't think that they're going to be good at all this year. And I think that this is probably going to be like the worst of the worst, potentially. From what I do know about the Colts, obviously outside of DJ, is that they have a pretty good offensive line and they brought in some good linemen this year. So I think they have some pieces there. I think they have the capability to win football games. If I had to choose, I'm going Colts just because of Jones, just because I'm rooting for him to win. But I don't I don't think either team is going to be very good. And I especially do not think that the Dolphins are going to be good at all this year. You've got, Greg Dulcich, who we all know and are familiar with, who's probably going to end up starting over Darren Waller, who's injury prone. They traded away Jonnu Smith. Achan is not healthy. So I just feel like they have so many issues over there. There's a lot of question marks about Mike McDaniel and what he's really capable of as a coach. And look, I don't love Shane Steichen either. I just think that, I don't know if I have to choose, I'm going with the Colts, but I think it could be a low scoring, pretty ugly game. And it could be like a win by one type of situation.
Chris, what do you think?
This game sucks. This is an awful game. This might be the worst game on week 1. I think Mike McDaniel is going to get fired at the end of the year, finally, because I can't stand the guy. I think he's a nerd. He shouldn't be a head coach, but obviously a lot of people do like him. His personality is funny at times, but I think both teams suck. I could see Daniel playing relatively well in this game because I just don't think the Dolphins are very good and he's at home. But I think the Dolphins are a slightly better shitty team. So even though they're on the road, I'll take the Dolphins by a field goal. I'll go 21 by 4 points, 21-17 Dolphins, but it could go either way. Both these teams are going to be fighting for last place in their divisions this year.
Wow, no faith in the Dolphins, huh, Chris? Yeah, this game is not really. If you have NFL Sunday Ticket or whatever the hell it's called these days, it's unless you're a Colts or a Dolphins fan, you're probably not turning this one on at 1:00. I did take Daniel Jones, my fantasy team. Thank you very much. Thank you. He's gonna have a good game. I do feel like a good game for Daniel Jones. He's not gonna have a good game for like Patrick Mahomes, but I can see Daniel Jones having like 220 yards passing. Daniel Jones is not starting for me, mind you, but I can see him having 220 yards and a touchdown in this game. I don't think it's a high scoring game, but I think at the end of the day, I feel like the Dolphins have more big game players than the Colts, and I think that's all it's going to take. So I like the Dolphins in this one, like 24-16. I can see them winning a game somewhere in there. Saints and Cardinals, I'm pretty sure we're all going to pick the same team here, but Anthony, who do you like?
Yeah, I like the Cardinals. I just think the Saints are such a joke right now with what they've set up. I don't believe in their quarterback because they don't even have one. I don't believe in their head coach. I don't believe in their defense. They're just a mess. And I'm not that high on the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is a team that, like with Chris, thinking that the Dolphins might be heading to a season where they fire their head coach. That's how I feel about the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is a do or die season, and I just don't think they have the pieces to do what they need to do. I like Marvin Harrison Jr., though, and I like Kyler Murray, so I think they're going to win this game against, again, a really bad Saints team, but I think this is going to be a little bit ugly. I don't think there's going to be much of a blowout even. I think it's just going to be one of those games that Arizona wins and takes an early lead but hangs on to, but I don't think they're going to run away with it either. They're not a very compelling team for me on paper, so I'll take Arizona, but I don't think it's going to be the most convincing of wins.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you on everything you said about the Cardinals. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is great. I don't love Kyler Murray, but I think he's going to benefit again from having someone like Marvin Harrison. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be anywhere close to a powerhouse team. I think they're probably just going to be mediocre this year. But I think if you look at the Saints, they're probably going to end up being the worst team in the league, if not one of them. So I love Spencer Rattler, former Gamecock, so I'm rooting for him. But I just think week 1, with him as the starter, there's so many question marks around that team. I don't love the coach. Like Anthony said, it just seems like they're kind of a shit show over there. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of great leadership and they have a good idea of where they're going. So I'm going with the Cards here too.
Chris, what do you think?
Adriana said she doesn't think they have a good idea where they're going. I think they have a very good idea of where they're going. They're going to the first pick, and they're probably going to be looking to potentially draft Manning if he comes out to keep him in New Orleans, which where he grew up. So I do think Arizona wins this game, and I actually disagree with Anthony slightly on my expectations for Arizona this year, but it's not so much because I'm in love with Arizona as a roster. I'm more so down on the NFC West as a whole this year, and I think I see a lot of mediocrity in that division, and I could see actually the Arizona Cardinals competing for a playoff spot this year because of it. I don't think they're a Super Bowl threat by any means, but I wouldn't be stunned if they win 9 or 10 games because I'm down on the Niners this year. I'm kind of down on the Seahawks this year, so I just feel like that division as a whole is down this year. So I wouldn't be stunned if Arizona wins 9 or 10 games this year with Marvin Harrison growing up a bit more this year. Maybe Kingsbury gets to keep his job as a result. But I don't think they're a great team. I just think they're playing a really bad team. So I have a lot of confidence they'll win that game by 2 scores.
I like Kyler Murray. I know people are down on Kyler, but Chris, you've known for years. I'm a huge K1 guy. Saints are just, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. You could say tank for Arch or tank for whoever. Maybe they're tanking for Aller. I don't know why you draft Tyler Shuck in the second round. I wouldn't Spencer Rattler's a quarterback. And they suck. I don't even need to give you analysis. The Saints suck. The Cardinals win this game by 10, 24, 14. And I think the Saints get that cheap touchdown at the end when it doesn't matter. Should we skip this New York, Washington? Want to come back to it, or do you want to do it now?
Oh, my mistake, by the way. I'm thinking early. I know Kingsbury got fired after 2 years. Gannon's the coach over there. But my mistake. But, yeah, I think Gannon keeps his job this year because, like I said, I think Arizona will benefit from playing a really crummy schedule this year because I think their division's down.
You guys want to do this one now, or you, John?
Let's make this finale. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. But I know she's got to get out of here like right at 8, so I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want her to miss that pick. We'll go back to this right before you leave. Is that cool?
With the Giants game? Yeah.
Yeah. 2 really shitty teams. The Jags and the Panthers. Couple of big cats going at it. Anthony, who do you like in the big cat bowl there?
I like the Floridian Cats. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that Bryce Young is due to take a step forward this year for the Carolina Panthers. Showed some promise down the stretch last year. But I think that Jacksonville has a couple of really exciting weapons in Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. And I like Liam Cohen. I think he's a really smart coach. I think this is the year that we finally see Trevor Lawrence start to live up to some of that hype. We haven't seen him really do that in a couple of years now. It's been some tough sledding for the past couple of seasons, but with Travis Hunter and with Brian Thomas Jr. and a backfield that doesn't have a clear number 1 running back, but has 3 guys that are all kind of pretty exciting, I like Jacksonville on the offensive side of the ball. So I think they're going to beat Carolina, especially with it being a home game.
Adriana?
Yeah, I'm not sold on Jacksonville as a team. I think that Trevor Lawrence, I think he's a great quarterback. I think, unfortunately, he's been put in a bad situation, and I think that's done more harm to him than probably anything else. But like Anthony said, he's got some good weapons this year. It's going to be fun to watch Travis Hunter, especially knowing that he's been getting a good amount of reps at the wide receiver position. Brian Thomas Jr., LSU guy, nothing not to like about him. And, I like the Panthers. I do think that they're going to have a better year this year than they have in the past. I like Xavier Legette. I think that, Bryce Young is due for some consistency. I think he's going to do that this year. But I think week 1, the Panthers are not there yet. And I think that they have the edge where Trevor Lawrence has more experience. He's got better weapons. And I think we're going to see that right off the bat. So I'm taking the Jags.
Chris?
I don't think there's a quarterback in the league this year that's in a more put up or shut up year than Trevor Lawrence. The only one you could argue is the guy going up against him in this game, and that's Bryce Young. So I think both these quarterbacks come into the year with a ton of pressure to live up to the expectations of the number 1 overall pick. Both these teams actually came into the league the same year, 1995, I think it was, or 94. And I remember both them, their second year in the league, made the championship game. The Panthers played in the NFC title game year 2 with Collins as the quarterback, and Mark Brunell had the Jaguars in the AFC championship game their second year in existence, and those teams have gone nothing but down pretty much ever since. The Panthers, of course, had that Super Bowl appearance with Jake Delhomme, but I'm going to lean slightly towards the Panthers, actually. I love the way that they ended the season last year. They were really competitive, and I don't really believe in momentum, but when you have a young quarterback, I kind of do. I think they built something at the end of the year. They were very competitive the last 4 or 5 weeks. I think Bryce Young is in for a big year this year. I like the way that he looked late down the stretch last year. Even though it's on the road, I'm going to give the Panthers the edge here. I got the Panthers by 3. They might be my surprise team this year. I think the Panthers could win the NFC South.
Chris, I totally agree with you. I love the way the Panthers finished the season last year. Although they weren't winning these games, they were in these games with the 2 teams that made the Super Bowl. They did win a couple of games down the stretch. And I do believe for a young quarterback, it's that type of, we always say there's no moral victories, but I think when you're a young quarterback like that and you do play with the top teams and you are competitive, it can go a long way. I mean, just like what our Super Bowl run in 2007, how the Giants played the Patriots extremely competitively in week 17, and it kind of carried right through the postseason. And when they met them in the Super Bowl, they knew they could play with them. And I think that goes a long way. I'm just not sold. I think Jacksonville just totally underachieves on a consistent basis, and I just don't expect anything less of them this year. I mean, I do love Travis Hunter, and I love Brian Thomas. I think they're great, but I don't know, man. I just feel like the Panthers are kind of in a spot like the Giants, where I feel like a lot of people are down on them, but they could surprise a couple teams, and I think they're going to surprise week 1, and I think they win this game by a field goal. We got the Bengals and the Browns in an AFC North tilt. Anthony, who do you like there? I mean, I think this is obvious. I think it's going to be a blowout in favor of the Bengals. I think the Browns, what a joke, especially that quarterback room. They don't, the classic saying, if you've got 4 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback, right? I think Joe Flacco is slated to start for them. Yeah, so I don't know. And I think that the Bengals offense is just so sick. Like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. I know that they've got Myles Garrett, but outside of that, they don't have what they need to slow down that Bengals offense. And the Browns offense cannot keep up.
I think the saying, Anthony, is actually if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But the Bengals have the Browns rather have taken that to another level. They've expanded upon it.
Doubled up the ante.
I'm going with the Bengals too. I think it's not even going to be close. I think that the Browns, the best piece that they have is Myles Garrett. He's probably going to end up sacking Joe Burrow, probably a couple times. I think their offensive line looked like an absolute disaster during preseason, but like Anthony said, it doesn't matter. He has Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. Chase Brown has done a relatively nice job. Or is it Noah Brown? No, it's Chase Brown, I think.
Chase Brown, yeah.
Wherever the running back is, pretty good. So I just think the Bengals, if the Browns can get it together, I think that the Bengals defense is ultimately going to hinder them throughout the season, but I think it's probably not going to be this week. And the Bengals offense, that's another parlay that I'm going to take. I just haven't yet, is probably every single one of them catch a touchdown, or at least Jamar Chase 2+, because I think this will be high scoring for the Bengals only.
Chris, what do you think?
I was curious to see what the spread is in this game, and I actually agree with the spread. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. They have the Bengals as a 4.5-point favorite. I think the Bengals are going to win.
Wow.
And I think they're going to win somewhat comfortably. But divisional game, Browns at home, Bengals are going to win. And they're going to put up points doing it. But the Bengals defense is god-awful. It's one of the worst defenses in the league. Even with Joe Flacco at quarterback, I think the Browns will be able to put up some points on that defense and be able to keep it relatively competitive. I'm going to go something along the lines of 31-23 Bengals.
I think the Bengals just dog walk these guys. I don't think it's even close. I don't know what the hell the Browns have. I don't care how bad the Bengals defense is when Joe Flacco is your starting quarterback. I think that's pretty awful. And I just don't think the Browns can stop. I don't know if anybody can stop the Bengals offense, man. That is a pretty damn stout offense. I think the Bengals win this game by 3 scores. And I don't think it's competitive. I just feel like the Bengals are gonna kill these guys. Kind of come to halfway point in the schedule, so just want to give a big shout out to Sleeper, who is sponsoring the show this year. One of the sponsors of the show this year. Huge shout out to Sleeper. A couple really cool things about Sleeper. You can win up to 1,000 times your payouts. You can place in-game contests. There's only $1 minimum entries for users. Entries can be made within 30 seconds or less. It's really that easy. You get safe and fast withdrawals, and you get contest voids for injuries, plus so much more. You also get a great promotion. If you enter the promo code HMA, it's right down at the bottom of the screen. You get a $100 deposit match up to $100. So dollar for dollar, all the way up to $100. Just use that promo code HMA. Let's hear from Sleeper 30 seconds back after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today, get up to $100 credit using the code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. Again, big shout out to them for sponsoring the stream. Use promo code HMA. Link, it should be in the description below. So check that out, guys and gals. Sleeper's a lot of fun, man. I've been messing around with that. And the gimme that they have is, for me anyway, I don't know if it's the same for everybody. Probably is. It's Dak Prescott plus, more than half a yard passing. So they do give you a gimme pick on Sleeper.
Yeah, you take the under. That's a gimme. He's not.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Falcons and the Bucks. Anthony, who do you like in that one? NFC South. There's a lot of divisional games to start the season off.
I think this will be a tough matchup. The Falcons are a team that I think is sneakily on the rise, with Michael Penix being a quarterback that I think could have a nice jump forward in year 2 in his full season as a starter, first full season as a starter. But I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. They have a lot of firepower on offense. I think Emeka Egbuka is really going to help open up that offense and free up guys like Mike Evans and just allow Baker Mayfield to shake and bake. I love Baker Mayfield. I think he is so much fun to watch. I think that he's got the ability to put up 40 touchdowns this year. I'm high on Baker Mayfield in this offense.
He did
put up 40. Yeah, he did put up 40 last year. That's right. So I think he's going to do that again. And I think that the Buccaneers are going to start off their season with a win. I think it's going to be closer than maybe some people expect. I don't know what the spread is. I haven't looked, but I think it's going to be a close 1-score win in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Adriana?
I like Michael Penix, but I just think that the Falcons, another team that I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, I just feel like they somehow manage to get it wrong every year, and we're going to see this week 1. I think that the Bucks are a powerful team. I think they're damn good. They've got a good coach. They've got a lot of good talent. Baker Mayfield obviously has proven that he is a good quarterback in the NFL. He's got Egbuka, who I really liked coming out of Ohio State. He's got, weapons. And what's his name? Godwin, I think, is going to be back week 1 too. So I just think the Bucks are going to be a team that are going to steamroll the NFC South. They're going to win that, no questions asked. And I think they're going to steamroll the Falcons week 1 too.
Chris?
Is Godwin back week 1? I drafted him with the intention to think he wouldn't be back till week 4 or week 5. Maybe he is back.
I thought I saw that he was maybe coming back soon.
Yeah. All right, well, if he's back, that's even more of a reason why I'm in favor of the Bucks week 1, because he was tremendous last year before he got hurt. I think he only played like 6 or 7 games. He had like almost 600 yards last year before the injury. The Falcons, to me, are much like the Raiders. They're like the Raiders of the NFC. Like, every year you're like, they pick the flashy player. They pick the Kyle Pitts. They pick the Drake London. They pick the Bijan Robinson. But the rest of their roster usually is garbage in recent history in terms of the nuts and bolts, the offensive and defensive line. I think the Raiders are very similar in that aspect. They go with Brock Bowers early. They go, the running back this year with Genti. So I feel like I don't agree with their draft strategy for the most part in recent years. I'm excited for Penix. I know you are too, Bad Dog. You are a huge Penix fan coming out of college. But I'm going to go with Baker, man. As much as I don't like Baker, I don't like how he trashed the Giants. I get the aura. I get the personality that people are into. You got to respect the guy. I mean, the guy was left for dead. He got picked up by Sean McVay in a similar fashion to the way that Daniel Jones got picked up by the Minnesota Vikings. You thought that he was halfway out of the league. And then last year, he may have led the league in touchdowns. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he threw for 41 touchdowns. He had a tremendous year. And I got to go, man. Baker Mayfield versus Penix. I'm going Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go with the Bucks week 1.
I love both of these quarterbacks. Chris, like I said, we've been working together a long time. And when Baker Mayfield came out of college, I mean, I'm a Sooner fan. I absolutely love Baker. He's always been one of my favorite quarterbacks. I was very happy for his success because the second year in Cleveland, I was worried. And when he got shipped to the Rams, I'm sitting there going, wow, he's pretty much thought he was out of the league as well. So it was a hell of a comeback story. I don't care that he trashed the Giants. That's his personality. I thought this was hilarious when he did that to the fans, honestly. That's just Baker Mayfield. I do love Michael Penix, though. It's another quarterback that I absolutely loved watching play at Washington State. I would have had no problem if the Giants drafted him. I like both of these quarterbacks. I just think the Bucs are a better team. We talk about Egbuka. There's also Bucky Irving. I mean, he's a hell of a running back, and I just don't think that Falcons defense is very good. So I think that the Bucs will win this game by 10. I'd say like maybe 30-20, 30-21, somewhere in there. The next game, we got the Cam Ward, first pick in the draft. The Tennessee Titans taking on Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos in Denver. Anthony, who do you like there?
Rookie quarterback on the road against this defense, not going to happen. I think the Denver Broncos are going to win. I don't even think it's going to be relatively close. I love Cam Ward, huge fan of him coming out of Miami. I was actually a fan of him over at Washington State before he transferred over to Miami. I thought that he could be a mid-round steal in the 2024 draft if he went out then. So I'm rooting for Cam Ward. I think he's going to be a great player for the Titans, but it's not going to show up necessarily in week one against a really good Denver Broncos defense. And don't sleep on the Broncos offense either. They added some firepower to their running back room. They've got a great receiver in Cortland Sutton, and Bo Nix, I think, showed a lot of promise in year one of his career. Now going into year two with more comfort and more playmakers around him, I think the Denver Broncos are going to be a very good football team this year, and I think they're going to win in week one.
I said Penix played for Washington State. He played for Washington. I got ahead of myself there when I was looking at Tennessee. But yeah, Penix played for Washington and Indiana. But yeah, Cam Ward at Washington State, I liked him too. So Adriana, who do you think wins this game?
I'm going with the Broncos too. I think that ultimately the Titans are going to be decent. I just think it's not going to be week one. There's too many question marks there. I really like Cam Ward. I think he's going to be great, but I don't know if they added enough players around him just yet for him to showcase his abilities and end up being a really good quarterback in this league. So I think week one is going to be a little slow for the Titans. And I just think the Broncos are coming off a really good year. Sean Payton's a great coach. Bo Nix looked good last year. Anthony mentioned a bunch of weapons that they have. I think they're probably just going to take it to the next level this year. And I think the Broncos are going to be good and they are going to beat the Titans. I also think they're probably going to beat the Giants too, but I won't get ahead of myself.
Chris, who do you like?
Of all the games week one, and let me scan over them real quick before I say this. Yep, I'm confident in saying it. I think this is the biggest blowout week one. I think the Broncos win this game by maybe 4 scores. I think they're going to obliterate the Tennessee Titans. You got a rookie quarterback first game going up against Sean Payton in the mile-high atmosphere, something that players traditionally struggle with the first half of a game, especially a rookie quarterback who's not accustomed to it. I think this game's going to be an absolute blowout. The Broncos were one of the surprise teams last year, and I don't think they're a fluke. I think Sean Payton's a tremendous coach. I got a lot of respect for Bo Nix, even though I wasn't super high on him as a prospect. I think the Broncos are an 11-win team this year, and I think they're going to start off the season with a win. I'll go 31-7. I think it's going to be a blowout.
Wow.
I don't know if it'll be it probably will be a blowout, and I don't know if it'll be epic proportions like that, but I just think Tennessee is going to really struggle to put any points on the board. That is not a place you want to make your NFL debut in Denver. I love Cameron Ward. Everybody that watches my channel knows I wanted the Giants to draft Cameron Ward. I just think he's got incredible talent, and I do think he's going to have a good NFL career. But that is a hell of a tough place to play. You're the number one pick in the draft for a reason. It's because the team around you blows, and you're not going to go into Denver against Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Much like you, Chris, I was not high on him as a prospect, and he really proved me wrong. He had a fantastic rookie season. If it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, everybody would be talking about Bo Nix. So I like Denver in this game, maybe 24-3. I can see something like that. I'll be lucky if they score a touchdown. Thank you. Huh?
You get my text message?
No, that's fine. Next up is the 49ers in Seattle. Again, another NFC West matchup. Anthony, who do you like here?
I think this is going to be a really close game. I think the 49ers are coming off of a season to forget. I don't think they're going to have this major bounce back that a lot of people envision for them, where they're going to be contending for the NFC again. I think they're going to be a better football team than they were last year, but I don't view them as title contenders. But I do view them as the better team compared to the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have a lot of question marks. I think Sam Darnold is going to take a little bit of time to readjust going from Minnesota to Seattle. He still has good playmakers, but not quite like what he had in Minnesota. I mean, in Minnesota, he's throwing to arguably the best playmaker in the NFL, and Justin Jefferson. So I think the 49ers are a little bit healthier going into this week one than they were last week one. I think they still have one of the best head coaches in the league in Kyle Shanahan. And I'm a big Brock Purdy guy. I think Brock Purdy knows how to run that offense, and he also gets out of the script of the offense more than people give him credit for. He can be a playmaker in his own right. So I think it's going to be a close one, but I do think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to win probably by a field goal.
Adriana?
I'm going with Anthony on this. I I don't think the Niners are going to be a powerhouse team this year. I think that the Giants might have the opportunity to beat them if they play competitively when they play against them. But I just think that ultimately you've got a healthy McCaffrey. They're going to run the ball a lot. And I think there's too many question marks around Sam Darnold. He's had one good year in his entire NFL career, and that was under Kevin O'Connell. And I think that O'Connell is a damn good coach and he knows how to help quarterbacks. And I think that, Darnold not staying there and going over to Seattle, I think there's going to be question marks, at least in week one. I think it's going to be slow out the gate. We saw flashes a little bit last year of the old Sam Darnold that we all were so used to. And, I just think the coaching staff is different over in Seattle. And I think that is going to be the biggest question mark is Darnold able to progress or at least play at the same level that he did last year with that coaching staff, with Justin Jefferson, with all of the benefits of the good offensive line and things that he had there? Is he going to be able to take that play at a new team with a lot of those question marks around him? So I'm going with the Niners. I think with healthy Kittle and CMC and Purdy week one, I think that they're going to be able to beat out the Seahawks.
Yeah. I was looking at my phone to look at the upcoming schedule. I didn't know Baddog wasn't there. I'll go. The 49ers to me are one of the trickier teams this year. I can't peg how I feel about them. I wouldn't be stunned if they rebound because, like Anthony said, I have a ton of respect for Kyle Shanahan. I think he's one of the top 3 or 4 head coaches in the entire league. And they still have good weapons. I'm excited to see Ricky Pearsall with a more expanded role this year, what he could become. He showed glimpses of hope last year. I think he had like 135 yards his first 2 games with the Niners. I could see him having a breakout year at the wide receiver spot. Of course, CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, I think is out for the first month at least. I think he's still hurt. But I do think the Niners are the better team. And for the main reason is what you guys just discussed. You have a quarterback with complete unfamiliarity with his players playing in a new offense, or you have Purdy, who is more than confident in the scheme he has with Kyle Shanahan and playing in it. Seattle, of course, a really tough place to play, though. So that has to be factored in. It's one of the toughest, probably the toughest place to play in the NFL. So I think it'll be close, but I do like the Niners to win that game by a field goal. I'll go 24-21. Very close game week one.
Sorry, I had to run to the bathroom. My kid is in the one downstairs, so I had to go upstairs. I was like, really quick. I'm just going to – I like Seattle, honestly. I think that it's just a really tough place to play. I did pick Sam Darnold to be a sleeper last year. I thought that Sam Darnold was going to have a great season. And, Chris, I don't like Sam Darnold. And I said that that's going to be a sleeper in fantasy picks. And I took Sam Darnold, and it got us into the postseason. He had a great year. He doesn't have the weapons he had in Seattle that he had in Minnesota. I just feel like week one, there's always some upset. And I feel like this could definitely be. It's a divisional game. It's in Seattle. It's a tough place to play. Christian McCaffrey being healthy obviously helps them a lot. I don't know, man. I'm just not the biggest Brock Purdy guy. I guess I'm not a lot of people that agree. I'm just not sold on him. I think Seattle makes just, maybe one more play than San Francisco does. And I think Seattle wins by 3 points in this game.
I think it'll be a close game, 3-point game.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be close. Since Adriana's going to get out of here, let's go to the main event of Sunday, which is the Giants and the Commanders. Anthony, let us have it.
I think the Giants are going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. I don't think they're going to win it by a lot, but the more that I evaluate both of these rosters, the less convinced I am in that offensive side of the ball for the Washington Commanders outside of Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. I don't think Deebo Samuel is going to be a major factor in the passing game this season. I think he's past his prime. I don't think Noah Brown is going to be a major factor for them in the passing game. I think their running back room is a little bit of a mess. Yes, they have that rookie Bill, and he's exciting, but he's not exactly an established world beater at this point. So, and then their offensive line, the right side of it, banged up, not that great. This Giants pass rush should get home. And the key to winning this game is not going to be anything on the offensive side of the ball for the Giants. It's not going to be Dexter Lawrence. It's not going to be any of their established pieces. It is Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter playing that quarterback spy role against Jaden Daniels is the differentiating factor between the Giants' losses versus the Commanders last year and a win potentially in week one this year. I think Abdul Carter makes a difference. I think he gets to Jaden Daniels at least for one sack, but a couple of tackles around the line of scrimmage while playing that spy role and keeping him from scrambling and making plays off script. And that's going to be why the Giants end up winning this game by 4 points.
Adriana.
I'm going Giants too. I think it's going to be 17-14. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to end up being a Graham Gano field goal that ends up winning them the game, which would have won them the game last year if they didn't mess up the kicker situation. I think the offense is going to do enough to get them down the field to score the points. I think that Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau are going to take advantage of the fact that they have a rookie right tackle in there. And like Anthony said, that right side of the line is questionable as it is. So I think they're going to take advantage of that. And I think we are going to see Abdul Carter get his first sack in blue, and I can't wait.
I'll get a haircut. Chris, who do you like?
I am so excited about this game the closer and closer the year gets here, right? We're only like 4 days out now, 5 days out, whatever it is. And the Giants' biggest weakness on defense, or at least what we think their biggest weakness is on defense, is the Commanders' undoubtedly biggest strength, and that's the run defense. That's what I worry about most with this Commanders' offense. So I am so excited to see how this Giants run defense is going to look year one, because you're going up against one of the better running attacks in football, obviously led by their quarterback with Jaden Daniels. Discipline, to me, is the biggest key in this game on the defensive side of the Giants. You have got to set the edge. You cannot let Jaden Daniels escape out of the pocket and be able to create big plays down the field with both his arm and his legs. Kayvon Thibodeau's got to stay disciplined off the edge. Burns, whoever's out there, they cannot let him escape the pocket. To me, that's even more important probably than getting sacks. Keeping him contained in the pocket, not allowing him to create big plays with his legs. And the closer the game gets, the more I don't want to be overly optimistic, the more I don't want to pick the Giants, but I'm going to do it. It's week one. I'm optimistic going into the year. The Giants look terrific in the preseason. I think the defense is legit. And I think McLaurin comes out a little rusty, and the Giants are able to take advantage of that, and they win a close game. I'm going to go Giants 23-21. Giants by 2 points.
Make it 4-for-4. I'm taking the Giants, and I've been saying this for some time. I said it in my video. Why not us? Why can't the Giants make that thing that Washington sucked for years? They got Jaden Daniels. Okay. All of a sudden, they're in the NFC Championship game. Now, I'm not saying Russell Wilson is Jaden Daniels by any stretch of the imagination, but they went from a 4-win team to the NFC Championship. Why can't the Giants do it? You got a guy, again, people are comparing Russell Wilson now to 2015 Russell Wilson. Compare him to 2024 Daniel Jones. Compare him to 2024 Tim Boyle. You can't tell me that the quarterback isn't an enormous increase over what it was last year. You got a really good running game with Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, Cam Scatterbo. You got Malik Neighbors, of course, and I think Wan'Dale Robinson has a really good game in this one. I think he is an X factor in this because the Commanders obviously going to want to take away Malik Neighbors. Russ has no problem stretching the field, and you saw Russ stretch the field in the game-winning touchdown when he was in Pittsburgh last year to Mike Williams against this Commanders team. The Commanders, like Anthony said, the right side of their line is banged up. This defense is legit. They sacked Jaden Daniels 7 times in the first game. I'm not saying they're going to sack him 7 times this game, but I do think they get to him. I do think they keep him off balance, and I do think they can contain him in the pocket. As long as he doesn't go for these long runs, I think the Giants will be okay. I think the Giants make enough plays on offense and defense, and they win this game 24-20, and they start off 1-0.
Here's my bold take. Malik Neighbors goes for over $150 and 2 scores. I think he has a big one for the New York Giants against this Commanders secondary.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Adriana, you got to get out of here. It's 8:03.
Yes, time for me to go do my draft. To wish me luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks. We'll see you guys Thursday.
Yes, ma'am.
Thursday.
Go Giants.
Go Giants. All right. Fellas, we got a couple more games left here. Green Bay and Detroit, in my opinion, probably the best game of the – well, maybe not. That one underneath.
I think it might be.
That Bills-Ravens game is pretty good too, but this is a really good game. Could be for the division. Probably will be for the division by the end of the year between these two teams. Anthony, who do you like? Obviously, Green Bay added a pretty good addition.
That they did. This is a really good game, and I think that the Detroit Lions are the better team, but I'm taking the Green Bay Packers in week 1. When they meet again later in the year, I think that's when Detroit takes it because they'll be at home, and also because I think they'll be a little bit more situated. Implementing a brand new defensive coordinator and brand new offensive coordinator in one offseason is a tough go. That's a process, and one that I don't think the Lions are going to have fully ironed out in week 1. So I think they're going to be a little bit sluggish. They might drop a couple of games early in the schedule, especially when they face a good team like the Green Bay Packers, who just added Micah Parsons, who have an elite running back in Josh Jacobs. I'm not a big Jordan Love guy. I'm not a believer I don't think he's spectacular, but at the end of the day, I think that the Packers are going to end up winning this one regardless, just because it's going to be a little bit slow for Detroit coming out of the gate.
Chris, who do you like?
I was a big Jordan Love guy going into last year. I bought into him off of his postseason performance, and I thought he was going to elevate himself to that upper echelon tier, and obviously that didn't happen last year. He had a down year. I think he's going to rebound this year. I like Jordan Love. By no means do I think he's the likes of a Patrick Mahomes, but I think he has potential to be a really good quarterback. And I like the Packers this year after they got Micah Parsons. I agree with Anthony. On paper, I think the Lions are still slightly better, but he took my talking point. That's exactly what I was going to say. The fact that they have to implement a new offense and defense, I expect them to come out a little sluggish, and I think the Packers at home win this game. I'll go by 4 points. I'll go 27-23 Packers at home. I think it's going to be a great game. That's one of the games that I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a really good game. Obviously, two teams that have a long history of one another. Green Bay did add Micah Parsons. I think that's really good. I really like Detroit. I mean, their offensive line is fantastic. Their running game is amazing. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's a great receiver. Jared Goff can certainly sling the rock. But it's for some reason, man, I feel like Detroit is going to take a step back. Now, I don't think Detroit's going to be a bad team. I still think they make the postseason, but I don't think this is a 13 or 14 win team this year. I feel like they're going to kind of scale back to like maybe 10, 11 wins. I could see Green Bay winning this division. I do like Green Bay in Lambeau. To Anthony's point, I think later in the year when they play in Detroit, I probably would take Detroit. But week one, I like Green Bay in a close game. I think it'll be higher scoring. I could see Green Bay winning this like 30-26. I like Green Bay in that one. The next game, we have the Houston Texans taking on the LA Rams. Anthony, who do you like in that one?
This is one of the toughest ones to pick for me. These teams, I feel like, are kind of neck and neck, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans on the road here, just because Matthew Stafford missed a lot of valuable time this summer dealing with that back injury. I still don't know if he's 100%. They've got some great playmakers, though, in LA with Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, of course, and now they added Devontae Adams. That team should be really good this year, the Los Angeles Rams. But I just think out of the gate week one, C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, no Joe Mixon, but I still think Nick Chubb is a serviceable running back. A couple seasons ago, I mean, he was really, really good. Obviously, he's worked back from that injury. And I really like Houston's defense as well with Will Anderson Jr. and Stingley. So I'm going to go with the upset. I think it's probably an upset to take the Texans on the road here against the Rams. But I think both of these teams are bound to have some really good seasons in 2025.
Chris, who do you like?
We're in agreement, Anthony. If you want to call this an upset, I'm with you lockstep on this game. I think the Texans are going to pull the upset here on the road. Like I said about Jordan Love, I'm also a big fan of C.J. Stroud. He disappointed me last year. He took a little bit of a step back in a sophomore slump. There were injuries around that team, though. I think he's legitimate. I was in love with him as a prospect when I saw him at Ohio State. He's got one of the most advanced mechanics that I've seen a prospect have coming into the pros. His footwork was incredible. I'm a big C.J. Stroud fan. I think he's a Super Bowl winning caliber quarterback, or at least I think he has the potential to be that. I think he's going to have a big breakout year this year based off last year. I think he bounces back. And I like the Texans this year. I think they can win at least 10 games because I'm a big believer in Stroud. So I'm going to go Texans. And due to the fact that Stafford, like you said, is probably going to be a bit behind with the injury, I think they go into LA and they pull off what many may consider an upset. I've got the Texans winning that game by a field goal.
It's funny because a lot of people said Stroud had a down year. Most of his receivers were injured last year, and they still made the postseason. It just tells you what kind of player he is. Now, Joe Mixon had a lot to do with that as well. When Mixon was healthy, he was a huge part of what they did there. I'm actually going to take the Rams in this game. I don't – Stafford is enough of a consummate professional. I don't think him missing a ton of times really going to affect these guys. Nacua, maybe he doesn't have the timing with Devontae Adams that he'll have later in the year. But they also have Kyron Williams. I think that this team is very well balanced, and they're very well coached. I mean, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL. And if I'm going to give the Rams the edge, it's because of the coach and the fact that they're home. So I'm going to take the Rams this one like 24-21. I think it's close, but I think ultimately because they're at home, they're going to get the win. If this was in Houston, I probably would go the other way with it.
There's so many good games this week. Every game we're saying 3 points, 4 points. Like very competitive games week one for the most part.
Yeah, just a couple. Like we mentioned, I think the Titans Broncos is a blowout. I think the Browns Bengals is a blowout. I think the Cowboys Eagles is a blowout. Other than that, I think they're all pretty close. In my opinion, this is the game of the week here. You got Lamar Jackson against Josh Allen. I don't think it gets any better than that unless they were in the AFC Championship game. Anthony, who do you like in this one?
This is going to be a tough one, but I like the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens should have won that game in the playoffs. I think the Ravens are the better team on paper, and I think they're only getting better. Lamar Jackson, to me, is the best player in the NFL right now. I know that this is a battle of the last two MVPs, and obviously the most recent one went to Josh Allen. It should have went to Lamar Jackson. The season that Lamar Jackson had last year has to be a top 3 to 5 quarterback performance that I've seen in my lifetime. Granted, I'm the young guy on the show. I understand that, but it was truly a historically good performance. I mean, he put up 4,000 passing yards with a 40-4 touchdown to interception ratio, which is just ridiculous. In addition to the 900 rushing yards that he had, I've never seen a dual threat quarterback at that magnitude in this sport. And I don't think the sport ever has seen it, actually. So I think Lamar Jackson's going to keep it rolling. I like the weapons he's got. I love that defense. I think they got better as well. I think the Ravens are going to win this one, even if it's an upset. Baltimore's going to be good this year for sure, but Baltimore's really good because Josh Allen kind of carries them to be good is the way that I see it in many ways. I think Sean McDermott's made a lot of defensive mistakes over the last few years. I don't think they have a great playmaking core around Josh Allen. It's just him elevating that team. Whereas with Lamar Jackson, he elevates that team, but he also has a sick team around him. So I'm going to go Baltimore in week 1.
I'm the old guy in the panel. I can tell you, I agree with you, Anthony. I don't remember a quarterback having a more dominant statistical season than Josh Allen. Although that McIntyre guy that works for Colin Cowherd will tell you that Jalen Hurts is the best dual threat quarterback. He must be into clouds because there's no way with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in this league, you can tell me a guy that gets pushed in the ass for a yard for 12 touchdowns a year is a better dual threat than Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. In my opinion, these are the two best quarterbacks in football right now. Chris, I know you're a huge Josh Allen fan. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I'm still going to say Mahomes is the best quarterback. But I completely get the argument for these two. They had a better year than Mahomes had last year. And as you said, I've been a big Josh Allen fan since he came into the league, even before he started to break out. I was in awe with his tools. I completely agree with Anthony last year. As much as I'm a fan of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson should have absolutely won the MVP. The funny thing is, the last MVP that Lamar won, you could have argued Josh Allen deserved it. So it almost felt like it was like an IOU to Josh Allen, because I think due in large part to the fact that, like Anthony said, he carried that team. He didn't have a lot of help around him. I think they took that at least somewhat into account, and they probably felt that he was doing MVP. But I agree, statistically speaking, last year, hands down, Lamar Jackson was the MVP, and he should have won the award. If this was in the playoffs, I'm taking the Bills. If Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson ever play in the playoffs, I'm taking the Bills. In the cold environment, when you could contain him a little bit better in his run game, I will take the Bills every time in the playoffs. But in the regular season, week 1, I'm taking the Ravens. I think they have the better team, as was discussed by Anthony, and I think they're going to beat them by about 7 points. They have the hardest offense to guard against in the NFL, because not only do you have the dual threat capability of Lamar Jackson, you now have the thumper in Derrick Henry. So it's pick your poison. And I think that was as big of a reason as any why Lamar Jackson elevated his game even more so last year than where it's been, because they're impossible to guard defensively. So I'm going to go Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens by 7 points.
I think Derrick Henry is the reason they didn't give the MVP to Lamar Jackson, because Derrick Henry had 19 touchdowns, or I don't know how many touchdowns. He had 1,800 yards and he had a shitload of touchdowns. And to both your points, Baltimore has a better team than Josh Allen does around him. And I think that's why they gave Josh Allen the nod, although Lamar Jackson, I thought, had the better season statistically. I'm with you guys. I think Baltimore, because they just have a better overall team, eventually a quarterback can only do so much. Now, I like James Cook a lot. I think he's a really good running back. The Bills were smart to, extend him without question. But I just feel like Lamar Jackson and, these guys around him are going to have another really good year. I'm sure they're going to win the AFC North. I still think they're the best team in the division. People could say they're the best team in the AFC. We're going to get a really good look at two of the best teams in the AFC without question, the Chiefs being the other one. Maybe you want to throw the Bengals in there if you think that they're going to have a big year. But I do like the Ravens in this one in a close game, and I think it's going to be, like 26-23, maybe, 30-27. But it's going to be a field goal. I feel like a lot of these games are field goals or 4 points. I do like Baltimore on the road in this one. Final game, rookie J.J. McCarthy makes his debut against one of my favorite quarterbacks, the first pick overall last year, Caleb Williams in Chicago, the Windy City. Anthony, who do you like in this one?
This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a fun one. I love both of these quarterbacks. I was a huge J.J. McCarthy guy coming out, but I think Caleb Williams is electric and just needs the right coach to put him into place and let him run and do his thing. And I think Ben Johnson is that guy for Caleb Williams. But I think I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I know that they're the road team, and I know this is J.J. McCarthy's first start, but I like Kevin O'Connell as the experienced head coach here versus the rookie head coach in Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson long-term is going to pan out, be great. I think they're going to be a much better football team this year, Chicago. But in week one, I'm going to go with the experienced head coach, Kevin O'Connell, and all those playmakers that they have in Minnesota. They've got so many of them, and they have a pretty strong defense as well. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think it's going to be close, and I actually think this is going to be a little bit of a quarterback duel. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to get off to a hot start, put the ball in the end zone a couple of times, and I think Caleb Williams is also going to have a hot start here. He's got a nice amount of playmakers to play with as well. But again, I'm going with Minnesota very narrowly, maybe a 3-point to 7-point win.
See, I think the reason you took Minnesota is why I like the Rams. I think the coaching has a lot to do with it. The Rams have really good weapons around Matt Stafford. Chris, who do you like in this game?
The Vikings are actually favored in this game. They're a 1.5-point favorite. I'm taking the Bears, but I obviously could get the argument for the Vikings. Like Anthony, I'm a huge fan of J.J. McCarthy. I love J.J. McCarthy as a prospect. I was an even bigger fan of Caleb Williams. The first time I saw Caleb Williams in college, my mouth dropped. There's very few prospects that I watch, Baddog, and I remember we talked about this 2 years before he came into the pros. I'm like, yeah, he legitimate. Like you hear them say all the time, he's the next Pat Mahomes for like various amounts of prospects. He was one of the only ones that I'm like, yeah, that's legitimate. Like he could be that level of a quarterback. I am a big believer in Caleb Williams, regardless of all the nonsense that people have spouted about him after his first year. You look at the year he had, it was not a bad rookie year at all.
Right.
He was just kind of sandwiched in between two incredible rookie years at the quarterback position, but with Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. He gets an elite playmaker now as a head coach there. I said it on Twitter the other day. The Bears are my pick this year to be the breakout team in the NFL. I think they're winning 10 games. I'm a big believer in Caleb Williams. I'm a big believer in the Bears. I think he's going to be their first franchise quarterback in franchise history, and I think he has a big year this year and goes for over 30 touchdowns. And I like McCarthy, too. I think McCarthy's going to have a really good year in that system. We saw what Sam Darnold was able to do last year with all the weapons they have over there in the play caller, and I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. I'm a big believer in J.J. McCarthy. But all that being said, I think the Bears are going to win. I got the Bears by a field goal, but this is one of the games I'm actually most excited about because of how much I love both of these quarterbacks. I think both of them could be very good quarterbacks in the NFL.
As you know, I was not a fan of McCarthy coming out of college. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan. I don't trust him. He didn't have to do anything in Michigan, and he might not have to do much in Minnesota either. They did a lot of running. The linemen are the ones that call the blocking schemes. He wasn't really asked to call the plays to the line of scrimmage. I wasn't sure what you were getting from J.J. McCarthy, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have talent and he can't be a really good quarterback. I just think there's a lot of question marks about his playmaking capability. He showed some playmaking capability, but I want to see it at the next level. He's coming off an injury, obviously, so I just feel like there's a lot of questions when it comes to him. I'm not saying he can't be great by the end of the year. I just don't know what the hell he's going to be. So It's hard for me to sit here and pick Minnesota. As good as the weapons are around him, he's definitely set up for success there. Sam Darnold got paid because of the weapons around him. Sam Darnold struggled most of his career. So I can definitely see J.J. McCarthy having a nice year. But Chris, you know, I've loved Caleb Williams since he was a true freshman at Oklahoma. I loved this kid from day one when he took over against Texas and came back and won the game in the second half his freshman season. He has just got an inordinate amount of talent. Ben Johnson is a perfect guy to get the most out of Caleb Williams. I'm with you. I think Caleb Williams has a breakout year. I could easily see 30 to 35 touchdown passes for him. I'm a Caleb Williams stan. I have been for some time. I do think the Bears, I would give them 10 wins, but I definitely think they're going to be a lot better this year than they were last year. And I think Caleb Williams takes a big step up. I like the Bears in this one by a touchdown. I think that's all the games, right?
We got a hell of a week one. Hell of a week one. You look at some of these games, Bears, Vikings, a game I'm really excited about. Bills, Ravens, Lions, Packers, Giants, Commanders is a good game. Niners, Seahawks.
Bills, Ravens.
The Jets aren't very good, but the storyline, Rodgers versus the Jets. There's a lot of real Chiefs, Chargers. There's some great Eagles, Cowboys. I mean, dude, they did a good job with the schedule week 1 in the NFL. There's just a lot of enticing games week 1.
Without question. Let's get to some of these. Prime, thank you, being a member. Well, that was Mark Stewart. I don't know why I get these ats. I don't get why that is, but thank you being a member for 2 months. We appreciate you being a member of the Giants Collective. Appreciate you, sir. Chris and Bad Dog's intern says, as Bad Dog always says, why not us? Why not us? 30-21 Giants, 10-7 on the way. Oh, I hope so. 30-21 would be great. I'd love to see us put up 30 points again.
I'm going to say this right now. If we beat the Commanders, I'm jumping on the 10-win train.
Yeah, well, I'm
jumping on it because I'm going to convince myself we could beat the Cowboys twice this year with Parsons out. If we beat the Commanders, I'm going to say, why can't we beat the Cowboys twice this year? So if it's crazy, guys, but week 1 could change your entire thought process of the NFL season, good or bad. We know in 2023 we were thinking, oh, Daniel Jones' second year with Dable. He may grow. The team may continue to elevate. They lay a 40-0 dud. The season was over right there and then with playoff aspirations going into the year. But the reverse happened in 2022. Week 1, week 2, early in the year is going to set the tone for this team. It's so imperative to get off to a good start for the Giants. And I can't wait to watch what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Jason, thank you so much. I never understood the Chargers hype every year. They have talent but underperform every year. Herbert is talented, but to me, isn't that guy yet, in my opinion. Not in the postseason. I think that's why that game against Jaguars, man, you can't lose when you're up 28-0.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He has not been a good postseason performer. Tons of talent, but I understand why he's not that. I get it. I mean, you have to. It's like Dak. Dak is a really good regular season guy, but man, you get into the postseason and.
I agree he choked, but I still believe Justin Herbert is an elite talent.
I do too.
And I still think Jim Harbaugh is an elite talent at head coach. And that's why I'm a huge believer in the Chargers going into the year. The Rashawn Slater has made me temper my expectations on them a bit going into the year. But yeah, I'm a big believer in Harbaugh, and he gets the most. Look at Harbaugh's. All you got to do is look at his credentials at the quarterback spot. Look what he did with Alex Smith when he went to the 49ers. He was on his way out of the league. Then he brings the team to the NFC title game. I think his first year or second year as the head coach with the Niners. All of a sudden, Alex Smith became a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. He's done it at the collegiate ranks. You saw him do it with J.J. McCarthy, Kaepernick. Right. I mean, so he's gotten the most out of the quarterback position. And I think he'll be able to get the most out of Justin Herbert as well. While he's there.
I was going to say, you said start off 1-0. Anthony, we're starting off 5-0, right, bro? 5-0. 5-0. Let's go. SPP Williams, our friend from across the pond, where it is very early in the evening or very early in the morning over there. We always appreciate what a legend. He says, happy collective is a Wednesday. It is in the UK. 50 snaps for card opening game over under.
Ooh.
That's a good over under because I think he's gonna be right around that number.
I'll say over because of what I said in my prediction for Giants versus Commanders. He's going to be on the field a lot playing a quarterback spy. I think he's going to get those snaps. I don't think they're all going to be on the edge. I don't think they're all going to be on the interior. I think he's going to play a good amount of off-ball linebacker as well. And because he's moving around so many different spots, they're going to be able to take off Thibodeau at times. They're going to be able to take off, Roy Robertson at times, and they're going to be able to take off McFadden at times as they move this just chess piece around and keep him on the field for the entirety of the game. Basically, he'll get the 50 snaps, and it's going to be because he's playing that quarterback spy. Because I just don't think you can match up with Jaden Daniels unless you have a great quarterback spy, and you need a great quarterback spy, and that's going to be Abdul Carter for the Giants defense.
You just convinced me, Anthony. I was like right around that 50 mark, but if there was ever a game where you need him out there as much as possible, it's this one. You need as much athletes as you could possibly get on the football field at that second level. And we all know he could play or at least he could drop back at coverage. He could play a bit at the linebacker, be that quarterback spy for this defense week 1. So I agree with you. I think he goes over the 50 because we need him, especially in this game with the dual threat capabilities of Jaden Daniels. You have to be able to him. So I agree. I think they utilize him more this game than they may in some other weeks to open
Absolutely.
up.
Yeah, it's week 1. He's well rested. You're not going to get more well rested and more healthy than week 1. You might as well play your best player on defense. And yeah, when you got a guy like Jaden Daniels and you need all the athleticism on the field you can get, It doesn't really get much more athletic than Abdul Carter, where you can consistently move him around. So I definitely think he's going to be a major part of what this defense does. I'm going to take the over 50 snaps as well.
I'll tell you what, another thing I want to see in this game, a lot of 3 safeties. You need athletes on the field against Jaden Daniels. I want guys that can move to be able to move side to side to keep up with Jaden Daniels. So I think you see a lot of 3 safety looks as well, which I know Anthony talked about a month ago.
Well, you might see some nickel packages as well. So you might see some, 5 defensive backs. Yeah. Ricky, thank you. I have the 4th pick in fantasy. Do I take Neighbors? Depends on your league.
Type of league. Yeah, is it a 2-quarterback league? Is it a PPR? Like, there's a lot of that goes into it. But the homer in me says yes. But I'll tell you, I'm ashamed. I did my fantasy draft. I think I have a great fantasy team. I did it with my brother. It's an 11. Well, we talked about it last time. 3 of my first 4 picks are guys within our division, so I'm ashamed by that. But I wanted to take Neighbors, but he went the pick before I did. At pick 10, but it was a 2-quarterback league. So I don't know where Neighbors goes in a standard league. I'm guessing like round 6 or maybe the 6th or 7th pick. So if you're a Giants fan and you want him at 4, snag him.
I mean, I think he's going to win the Triple Crown, so I won't tell you not to take him at number 4 because he's going to put up ridiculous numbers. But at number 4, if you can get Jahmyr Gibbs, I think you got to take him. He's a game changer in fantasy.
Dual threat capability. Yeah.
For me, like I said, I picked 7th, and 5 of the first 6 picks are quarterbacks in my league. It is a quarterback-driven fantasy football league that I'm in. No kicker, no defense. You play 2 quarterbacks every week, so you need a 3rd one in case one of your guys goes down or during their bye. This is how I ended up with Daniel Jones. This is also, as much as I don't like Jalen Hurts, when he fell to me 7th, I'm like, thank you, because somebody took Jamar Chase in the middle of all those. And the guy that took Jamar Chase actually had Malik Neighbors as a keeper. Oh. So he had Neighbors as a keeper in the 2nd round. He took Jamar Chase. I'm like, all right, well, thank you for taking 2 wide receivers. I mean, they're both great. Don't get me wrong, but you actually shorted yourself a quarterback. So it is what it is. But yeah, it really depends on the league. Lou, thank you. He says, Baddog says the Jets will jet. I call it the curse of the guarantee. You can call it whatever you want. The Jets stink. And
I don't think they need the Jet this year. I just don't think they're very good.
They're just the Jets. I don't know what else.
But if the Jets are going to surprise this year, it's going to be because they have a ball control offense. Because I do think they'll be able to run the ball pretty effectively.
Jason, thank you, brother. Don't sleep on the Browns-Bengals game. Browns play good defense, and Bengals always start off slow for some reason. Browns can run the ball.
They beat them. The Browns beat them to open the year. I think 2 years ago they beat the Bengals when the Bengals were a Super Bowl team. I wouldn't be shocked at all if that's a close. I know you guys all predicted a blowout in that game. I don't think it's going to be. I think the Browns will keep it close for a lot of the reasons that Jason said there. But I am picking the Bengals. I'm not crazy.
Quarterback play stinks. I just don't like their I don't know. I mean, it's a divisional game, so, I called it a blowout, but it's very possible that it ends up being good. And, if the Browns can run, they keep Joe Burrow off the field, and that's definitely going to help Cleveland. I mean, that's the best defense.
And I think they'll be able to run because I think the Bengals defense is one of the worst in the league.
Cowboys say, hold my beer. George, thank you, brother. He says, happy game week all. First game, first must win. Like Erica Badu, we are calling Tyrone 200 total yards and 3. Wow. He's calling for a big game for Tyrone Trace. Take it.
How is he going to get my only question is if Neighbors is getting 200 yards, which he is, how is Tracy going to get 200 yards? Are we putting up 600 yards in total offense, Baddog?
That'd be amazing. That's Tyrone Tracy getting 200 total yards would be, you bet that and hit. That's paying. That's paying a lot.
I'm very interested to see what the Commanders' defensive strategy is going to be. I have to think they're going to double the shit out of Neighbors. And if they do that, you got to figure Tracy could be in for a big day. I don't know about 200 yards, but if they spend extra attention on Neighbors, that's going to open up a guy like Tyrone Tracy, whether it be in the ground game or the passing game. So I could see Tracy having a big game week 1 if the Commanders just go over and above and beyond to try to negate Neighbors and take him out of the game. Same thing with Wandell. Like you said, he could be a factor. So I'm really intrigued to see what the Commanders do from a defensive standpoint and how that affects everybody else on the Giants offense.
And with that said, that brings us to the close of another edition of Giants Collective. Again, I know this is going to mess up when I bring this up here now, but messed it up pretty good. Can't really do much about that. It's the best I can get. Big shout out to Sleeper again for sponsoring the show this year. Again, check out Sleeper, guys. They have a lot of good stuff there. 1,000 times your payouts, save and fast withdrawals, $1 for minimum entries. You get contest voids for injuries. Make sure you use the promo code HMA when you sign up, and you get a $100 deposit match up to $100. So if you deposit $100, you get up to $100 dollar for dollar for that. So check them out for sure. Again, big shout out to those guys. You can check us out on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts, TikTok and Instagram, Giants Collective, and appreciate you guys, girls, tuning in. When we come back on Thursday, it's opening night of the NFL. We got a good one with the Eagles and the Cowboys. And then, of course, we'll be discussing that Giants-Commanders game in more detail. So, for Anthony over there, Chris down there, it's Bad Dog. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you in a couple nights, and we out.
See you Thursday, guys.